Hello, everyone. Om Shanti. Good evening. How are you? Welcome to our special Zoom meditation session that we usually have on Thursdays, and our special production to put together a 1 hour special on how folks are coming together on Zoom to meditate and to handle their stay-at-home order, their lockdown. But to what extent are we also growing in the process of this interesting turn of events in our lives? So as usual, I always want to know if you're okay, so always give me a thumbs up wherever you're watching from. And it's just important for us to feel that we're okay, especially because today's meditation topic, it's on facing the future without fear. And I don't know about you, but is anyone, even on this Zoom session or on YouTube or Facebook, is anyone without some element of fear somewhere? So just imagine that if I came into the lockdown or the stay-at-home in a state of fear, then what am I going to walk out to after the lockdown or after the stay-at-home orders? So there's a lot for us to explore in today's session. And we have some really special guests who will be offering different variety forms of the way they meditate. We'll be having a conversation with individuals who are thinking about how to meditate, what to meditate, youths that are under the age of 15 that are meditating, families that are meditating, brainwave formats of meditation, but even a movement meditation, all wrapped around how do we help ourselves to eradicate this crippling level of thinking, this crippling level of believing in, I guess, some sense of mortality. But also, we've also gotten such indoctrination to be afraid of pain and suffering. And maybe that's a very big part of the journey. But nonetheless, we are moving into a particular period in our lives that we don't want to be crippled by a thought that has deceptive belief systems. I'm not mortal, I'm a soul, so I must be immortal, I'm spirit. How many of you have done, I've done quite a number of Zoom funerals so far, and you look at the body, but the spirit isn't there anymore. And yet, their organ can help somebody who needs an organ to survive a little bit longer. The soul isn't in the body, but somebody's heart, if it's healthy, somebody's kidneys, if it's healthy, somebody's eyes, if it's healthy, can actually help to breathe life in another person, but yet it couldn't keep life for that particular soul. So who is in charge of the body? The energy of the soul. And if we start to believe that the energy of spirit or light is immortal and it's energy and it's eternal, then maybe the only thing we need to be concerned, I want to remove the word of fear, but maybe the only things we need to be concerned about is that we want to make the best choices that gives joy. My mentor, Dadi Prakashmani, she passed away in 2007, August 25th, 2007. We have a peace tree planted on Capitol Hill here in Washington, D.C. So members of Congress and politicians will actually go out and meditate by the tree. Sometimes when I just want to be reflective, I'll go out and sit by our tree, and it's right next to the Christa McAuliffe tree. And it's an official government tree, and it's known as the Peace Tree. We have one on Capitol Hill, we have one on the Pentagon, and we have one at the Archdiocese of D.C. But anyway, when Daddy passed away in 2007, but her greatest message to me was, don't give sorrow, but don't take sorrow. Many of us will say, well, I don't give sorrow, but can you help me how to not take sorrow? So many of us have said this. So an element of our fear sometimes, I think, is hidden in us also taking sorrow. Not wanting to hurt the person, not wanting to speak up, just afraid of speaking up to be heard because I might not be fully secure in myself. So stay tuned with today's conversation because I think it's going to be very heartwarming. But what I'd like to request, those who are on the Zoom sessions, if you're not going to turn on your video, please go to YouTube or Facebook or Twitter to watch it because we're doing a special filming, and we do need everyone to be on the Zoom video-wise. Please make sure you're dressed properly and that the lighting is good and your camera is stable and your environment is also quite quiet so that we can help in creating the production really much easier. Second thing I'd like to check in with you is that be prepared to be called upon to share your thoughts or your views. And I'd like you to be mindful that we're in a room of many people and we would like for them to also have a sharing and a voice. If you happen to be on Zoom right now and you'd like to tell your friends that you'll be featured or you might be coming up shortly, you can send them your link, the link of YouTube on America Meditating YouTube. On the Meditation Museum YouTube, which is now live, or you can send them to your Facebook, Meditation Museum or America Meditating. It should be live there and they'll get a chance to see you as well. So let's take a moment of silence today and take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. Take a deep breath again, and as you're inhaling, have the thought, I'm fearless, I'm courageous, and I'm brave. Breathe out. Breathe in again, the awareness, I am fearless, I'm courageous, I'm brave. Take a moment of silence. Thank you. Facing the future without fear. What does it mean? There are two ways that we're able to identify fear. One is very obvious. Your heart starts to beat fast, pumps faster. Your body gets tight or restricted. Sometimes you can feel like your head, in a way, is like expanding or popping. Or you can sometimes just feel like very edgy, like you're looking around. So that's the physical form of fear. When you're not subtle enough to recognize, well, what is the thought that's making me feel this way? Then the physical way that it reveals itself are through these symptoms. So the heart starts to pump faster, like you can know you're afraid of something. What is it? Or your body gets tense. You have to do public speaking. There's some people who are absolutely afraid of public speaking. They sweat and sweat and sweat, and the heart gets like that, but they're really trying to put on a cool face, but they're just sweating. I mean, they're draining. Santosh, remember our wonderful friend who I'd put up for public speaking for the first time? I'm not going to call her name. And I asked, are you okay? She would say, yeah, I'm fine. But she was sweating like she came out of the shower. I mean it, So she was afraid of the form of public speaking, but she was concealing the fear. And the fear was so intense that it couldn't be hidden because she was sweating so profusely. Okay? So there are physical signs that will reveal to you and I that I'm afraid. We can run. We can pant. We can walk down an alley by ourselves and begin to have a thought. I hope there's nobody here. I hope I'm safe. And the reason why we have the thought is because we've seen so many films or TV shows or programs, or we've heard so many stories, or we've read so many books, that when somebody walks down a dark alley alone, more than likely they might be looking for trouble, like something's going to happen. So even just the thought of that recording stimulates the energy of the vibration, and then your endorphins and your cortisol levels and everything starts to change in your brain, and you actually start to believe something's going to happen only because you saw something, heard something, it was traumatic to your system as an emotion. You began to feed that emotion became your nature, and you're just walking down an alley and you're a little tense, you're cautious, sometimes even afraid. I remembered when we were looking for some properties. We have to manage 4 spaces in the metropolitan area, and the one of the spaces that we had, that was about 15 years ago, we had to vacate that particular space, and so we went looking for spaces. And I would look for these particular buildings or houses or spaces that we just wanted to look into, and I would walk into those rooms or those houses without any reservation, while everyone else who was with me in the car is like, Sister Jenny, you just can't walk in the house like that. What if there's somebody there? What if there's a squatter or something? And I used to go, why are they so afraid? It's just, we're all together. It's a house. If somebody sees me, they'll run. And I thought to myself, on many occasions, why was I so fearless? Even the house that we're in Great Falls, I was looking, and I just went to see if there was a door open, and I walked in. Don't think I'm a thief or anything, because I really wasn't doing that. I just have this energy that everything is going to be fine, and I belong to everything. I don't know where it comes from, but the back door was open in this house that we're in, and I walked in it, and the person who was with me was like, you need to be careful. What if there's somebody here? The back door is open. I go, well, I'll talk to them. So I remember just walking through the whole house quietly. I go, this is going to be our house. This is it. And I walked right out. I called the realtor. I told him, maybe because I haven't seen a lot of images or visuals of people walking into a home and being hurt, but other people have. So the point that I'm making is that fear lives in the consciousness of the soul, because we keep feeding the soul information of things that have been traumatic, things that have gone against the original nature of the soul. It has moved us away from the original power and presence of who we are. And because we're not subtle, and I want to really emphasize this word, everyone, when I'm subtle, I grab the emotion or the thought, rather. Let me back up. When I'm subtle, I grab the thought before it becomes an emotion. Got it? When I'm not subtle, which means I'm not in the awareness that I am a soul, I am immortal, I am energy, I'm infinite. When I don't have that awareness, then I invest a lot of my thinking in my physical limited form. So my body is mortal, my position could be mortal, my age is mortal, my hair is going to get gray one day fully, it's mortal. And I don't want it to get gray, but it's been speeding up a lot since the lockdown. But it's getting gray, it's changing. So if you're thinking about these things over and over again, where your thoughts are invested in that which doesn't last, then naturally you're going to feed the energy of fear, which is actually an illusion, and it's fed by attachment, and it's empowered and amplified by the ego. So it's an interesting factor that we're weighing in right now. The lockdown and the stay-at-home order has actually given us an opportunity to develop a fearlessness, because we've been at home in peace for the past 2 or 3 months. Yes, there are certain family members or individuals in relationships who are not at peace right now. And my thoughts and my pure feelings go out to you. I'm speaking to the children and to the wives who are being abused in their homes with domestic violence. That's not a very peaceful place right now. And as I mentioned this to you, I wish this wasn't happening to you. And if you are the abuser and you're watching this program, I plead and I beg you, speak to your better self. Even you don't want to do it. The need to express any form of violence is an expression of your own personal fear. Even if you can rest without exploding for a few more days and just give joy to the family, could you do that? So I just wanted to pause for that because it came up in the conversation today. So our fear is fed by two very distinct, deep impressions in the soul. Attachment to name, gender, role, religion, title, nationality, language, and the body. Has everyone got that? Thumbs up. Attachment to name, gender, role, title, religion, language, nationality, and the body. That when the spirit is attached to those physical forms, if a person comes and kills you because you're black, it's going to create a whole bunch of emotions in you, and in the community. If somebody comes and calls you white and this and that, that's going to create a whole bunch. If somebody says Jews are more elevated than Muslims, that's going to create a whole bunch of fear and anxiety and anger. Why? Because the soul is attached to those ideas. And so we become afraid, wondering, are you going to attack me because I'm Muslim? Are you going to attack me because I'm a woman and I might be the physically weaker gender? Are you going to come after me because I'm black? Are you going to kick me out of the country because I'm an immigrant? Are you going to... All these things will come up. The fear that we have, it's because the thoughts have been feeding the limited identity, and the world is governed by limited ideas. But here's the beauty about tonight's sharing. The solution. Stop feeding your limited identities and start to feed your immortal, eternal, the imperishable part of you, the soul, the spirit that lives on. So here's how I do it. I am a soul. I know that it's the soul that's speaking to you right now. But I'm also in the remembrance that my original religion is peace. Not Jewish, not Christian, not Muslim, not Hindu. But if I happen to have a religious belief, I, the peaceful soul, am practicing Christianity. I, the peaceful soul, am practicing Judaism. I, the peaceful soul, am an African American. I, a peaceful soul, am even an agnostic. I, a peaceful soul, am an American. Do you see the difference? So let's say if somebody attacks you for being an American, what's going to be hurt? Being an American? Or if they try to attack your peace, can they attack your peace? Or do you give that up? You get what I'm saying now? So the fear is fed because over a long period of time, everyone, we've been thinking about the limited identification of ourselves, and they're being threatened every day. Government, science, religion, the drama of life is threatening everything limited in our lives every day. So we need some freedom, right? We need some space. We need movement. We need to not be afraid of growing old alone. We need not be afraid of being alone. We need not be afraid of what our thoughts are saying. We need to keep accepting and finding ways. So what I wanted to do after this point, I'll put a pause. I don't know if anyone has any thoughts, but save them for a little bit later. Save them for a little bit later as we go deeper into it. I'd like to call Dale on because tonight's program we want to explore the different facets of meditation, but also in what way can we find forms of meditation that can help us to move into the future without fear. So I'm calling upon Dale. Dale, are you there to offer one of your forms or ways or techniques of meditation, which I'd love to have you introduce to our audience and to our friends that are listening in?
When I'm feeling afraid and isolated as we've been in the last several weeks, sometimes it's not only a fear of being alone physically, but even, when I identify with my physicality and sometimes being afraid that maybe somebody else of a different physicality might not understand me.
Right.
And so then to feel more connected with spirit, then I like move. So I actually made one up for myself today, which was about feeling alone, being in a grip of fear after listening to probably a little too much news lately.
No listening to the news, Dale.
Yeah,
Not
I agree.
You're lucky. Just no, don't even do 10 minutes.
Right, exactly. So the moving meditation that I would like to share with you starts with this kind of action, which is just an invitation, right? The invitation, if we can remember, if I can remember to invite spirit into my experience, no matter what it is, when I'm feeling afraid, whether I'm feeling alone. So I'm making this invitation by putting my hands up, and I'm bringing them down, easily inviting spirit into my mind, into the way I see, passing all this down by my heart. And then I'm just going to make this kind of embrace under my heart space, where I can feel more open and supported by spirit. So again, I'm coming up here, the motion is here to invite, coming forward past my mind and thoughts, inviting into my perspective, bringing in source, inviting source to support me. And right here, I'm picturing my heart like a flower opening, being able to be honest about whatever I'm feeling with this support under my heart space. So again, I invite you to invite, relax. There's no right or wrong movement. Bringing it in. Lingering here, where I can be open and confess my fears, express myself to spirit if I have no one else to speak with, either silently or just in this motion. Inviting, come in, fill my mind, my perspective, support my heart in opening fully, becoming more loving when I give up the fear. Invite again, because it's beginning to feel real good. Come here, Inviting divine support. And repeating as often as I feel. Thank you for allowing me to share that and sharing that little moving meditation with me.
That was perfect. Thank you so much, Dale. That was beautiful. Next, we have Craig. Craig's going to come up and share with us about brain waves and the scientific proof of how meditation and our thoughts do have an impact on the way we feel, but also how we can progress in life, but also how this brain wave mechanics can perhaps be a tool to help you to also transcend any aspect of fear. So could we get Craig on, please? Is Craig there?
I have been a long time meditator, and a while back I got this device that you see me wearing right now called the Muse headband. It is an EEG meditation device that comes with an application, but I use an additional application which you can see running right here.
Let me see what
It-
second. Let me see it.
It's this display right here.
Okay, so is that a separate mechanic? Like, is
It
that a
is
separate box?
it is an application that talks to the Muse headband, and it shows actively my brain waves right now. It
And
shows
what
the alpha, beta, delta, gamma, and theta brain waves live
Wow.
while I'm sitting here.
And how are you doing?
Um, pretty normal right now. And I'm part of a Facebook group called the Heart Mind Alchemy Project, which is a group of us that are exploring human consciousness at the intersection of neuroscience, various contemplative practices of meditation, and emerging technology. What's really cool about this is the ability to record our brain waves during meditation sessions is leading us to experiences and new research opportunities that is just amazing to be on the ground floor of this science meets meditation. It's brand new.
Okay.
By recording our brain waves, we're able to compare them over time, and sharing them within the group, we can see how they change through our practice.
Wow.
We can find out that as we grow in our practice, the strength of our alpha and theta brain waves increase through regular practice.
So for people who don't know what alpha is, could you explain, Craig?
Well, alpha brain waves are normal. That's the most dominant brain wave that we have just when with an active mind. As we grow in meditation practices, our alpha brain waves become stronger. Now, our theta brain waves is that down at a spiritual level and at a sleeping, dreaming level. Whenever you increase your theta brain waves during meditation, that actually shows that you're entering deeper states of meditation. There are times whenever you can go so deep into a meditation that you lose track of time and place, and you just completely lose track of where you are.
Kind of like
When
how
you
we're
do-
feeling now.
Yes. When you do that, your delta waves will spike over alpha, and you can actually show that, I say that my meditation was so deep that I lost track of space and time, and I can actually show through my brainwave chart that indeed my delta waves peaked so high.
Wow.
We also have meditators whose gamma waves will spike so high that they're almost off the chart, and this correlates to them entering bliss states of meditation.
Wonderful.
And we've had group meditations where they've done this, and we can just watch them and see that they don't even want to come back from those meditations. You can just see how wonderful and at peace they are. The ability to meditate just takes away those fears whenever you become comfortable looking inward and are comfortable with that person within. you're able to face almost whatever life throws at you.
Right.
And the ability to actually see your brain waves after a while as an additional step, like we do in the group that we're in, adds an additional dimension to that.
Right.
And it's a fascinating subject. We have neuroscientists and seasoned meditators and life coaches in our group, and all these people gather together to share the information that we find.
Wow, that's wonderful, Craig. Thanks for sharing that rich information. I
Thank
have to
you.
tell you, my great grand aunt, Dadi Janki, she passed away on March 27th of this year. The University of Texas had done a research on her brain, and she was declared the most powerful mind in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, because they did that. They were just starting back in those days. What is it, about maybe 25 years ago? I think it was about 25 years ago. If you look it up, you'll just Google Daddy Janki, most powerful mind in the world. You'll see the research that was done. That's my great grand aunt. So
Whenever
I believe in that.
when you say look into your heart and find love and joy, and push that love and joy out to the world around us, we should be able to see gamma brain waves increase, because they increase whenever we do love,
Yes,
joy, and compassion to the world.
yes. Thank you so much, Craig. Great information. Really very helpful. Thanks so much. So as you all can see, we have different particular, styles and ways that we can choose meditation. It could be a moving meditation. It could be with scientific proof that your theta and your alpha waves do show where you are feeling sort of emotionally, but also on a thought level. And look, if after this pandemic, we go back out there in the world, when the state that we were in before this, it's not going to be a good thing. Lock down a few people for 2 or 3 months and then send them out there. I mentioned in the show the other day, when an astronaut goes to the moon or goes up into the space, they prepare for that trip. And when they come back after being in space for 6 months or a year, they just don't rush back out in the world. Similarly to when someone who's been incarcerated for a long period of time, they don't just send them back out there, they put them in a halfway house for a while so that they can start to gradually adjust back to the society. So what have we been going through? What have our brain waves, our alpha waves, what has the soul been going through for these 2-3 months in lockdown, that now when we move out, can we be a little bit more blissful? Can we be a little bit more peaceful? I'd like to invite everyone to maybe pause for 7 minutes, or maybe, Antonia, maybe about 5 or 6 minutes. Let's do 6 minutes for the breakout room. And I would like for those of you to find your partners in the breakout room. I don't know how many are on, but based on that, you can divide up the numbers properly, Antonia. And as you go into the breakout room, maybe like 3 per room, if you're not on a video, please go to the YouTube or we will disconnect you. Not out of being rude, but please go to the YouTube or the Facebook, all right? So what we're going to ask you to do is we're going to break you out, and let's say 3 to a room. And I would like you to only speak about the future, the fearless future that you are sure you're going to bring forth after this COVID-19 situation and scenario, or your stay at home, or your lockdown, whatever you call it. So I'll see you back in about 6 minutes. Enjoy each other, connect really well. Please share your time together. Let each person get their fair share to really speak. But what I'd like you to know is that as you enter into your breakout virtual room with each other, feel like you're really connecting soul to soul, heart to heart. You're not connecting with a stranger. You're connecting with a brother or a sister that you're meeting again after a long time. So you bring those waves, those vibrations into your breakout room. Okay? All right. So Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your breakout room sessions together and had a chance to speak with each other with a lot of love and experience. And I just got a message from one of our producers, Bill Bennett. If you look him up, he's the director for the PGS, the Personal Guidance System, and that was an award-winning movie that he did. And he's working on the new one called Fear. And so if you look him up, I've asked him to zoom in, so hopefully Bill can zoom in if he's available. But I would love to perhaps talk to all of you all about your experience in the Zoom room. I was going to play a meditation, but I'll put it on pause here and just maybe do a little bit of a feedback from some of the folks that participated in the Zoom breakout room. And if I don't mind, I'd like to maybe speak to some of the young voices that are participating in their Zoom meditation and their spiritual vaccine. Bevan, are you on? Are you available? Can I see you?
Hello.
Hi, how was your meditation today?
Good.
Good. So now you've been with us for the last few weeks, and I wanted to find out, what is your interest in meditation? Because you're going to be 11 pretty soon, and not everybody at that age wants to meditate. And I'm curious, what is the reason that you're interested in meditation?
Well, I'm interested because I'm usually stressed out now that with homework my little brother gives me. So I thought meditation would be good
Uh-huh.
to me because it'll help me get under control and won't how do I put it, start doing my brother the evil eye.
Well,
He
that's
gets red.
great. Does it relax you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good, good, good. Does it help you with your studies?
He always.
Good, good. Well, we're really, really glad to hear that.
When I'm stuck in a tough question, I say in my head, meditation stuff.
Okay,
It
that's
helps me concentrate.
good, good. Those are important qualities as a young child growing up. So thank you for participating in our project, and I'm wishing you all the best and special birthday greetings. All right. So what about the families? Are there any families that are actually meditating together? Is there a mom and a dad and the kids at home that are doing meditation? I believe Lana is somebody who might be on that we would love to talk with. Lana, are you there? Waiting for Lana to come on. Okay, we can come back to her then if she's not available. How about Sandy? Sandy, you were sharing that you've had some struggles with meditation and what meditation means. Would you like to share about what you've often thought meditation has meant to you and why you think it's so difficult? Welcome. We've got you, Sandy. Just on mute.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, I feel like as though your message today was written for me.
Oh, really?
Fear in the future, yes, I was very drawn to that. I've been interested in meditation for many years and have taken a few classes, and I have gotten some CDs and things like that. For the reason that I deal with a lot of anxiety and worry and obsessive thinking, worrying about things that you have no control over.
Right.
And, it's always like meditation will really help you. But when I have had the opportunity to try it, I'm not sure that I can turn my mind off. I am listening to it, but there are things going through my mind, and I can't really truly focus because I'm very aware that I'm meditating. I have the feeling that I should just be, paying attention to nothing around me. So
Yeah.
it's a problem that I have, but I really, really want to learn to do it.
Yeah. I think what happens is that we have this myth, Sandy, that when you meditate, we're supposed to stop thinking. And I feel that makes it very difficult for anyone to embark on meditation. But let's reimagine that meditation is to be aware of all those thoughts. But now let me choose a thought. For example, today's topic is on moving into the future without fear. What would it be like if I chose to not think I won't have enough money when the country opens up? And that's a form of meditation because you've shifted your thought, which is more of a lower vibration. Oh my God, what's going to happen? I don't know if I'm going to make it. It's getting worse. Da, 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 da. Versus, okay, if thoughts manifest and create realities, what do I have to lose if I think in a way that I want to manifest my reality? Right? So that's a new way of looking at meditation, that it really is just to become aware of your thoughts and to be mindful of which thoughts do you want to serve so that they can come into your future.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sister Jenna.
Thank you so much for joining us on this, all right? Really appreciate your voice. So sweet. So do we have any families that actually do meditation together? Lana, I was told that you've got your husband, you've got your daughters, everyone's getting caught up in meditation. You want to tell us a little bit about what that's been like?
She's on there.
I think so. I don't know. We have to highlight Lana. I'm still seeing Sandy. And, okay.
There they are.
There you go. Hi. So your whole family meditates? What's that like? Yes?
Unmute.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Hi, excellent. Thank you. Sorry about that.
I just need to have you up on the screen now.
Thank you. I am very, very happy because for me personally, as scary as this pandemic is, it has been a blessing. And I got my family together. We all have been trying to meditate separately. I've been meditating for about 18 years in my life, not consistently, on and off, on and off. And I needed to bring my girls on, and needed to bring my husband on. And this past 2.5 months gave me that opportunity. And this is the best thing that happened to us as a family. Sasha, my daughter, she's 12 years. 2 weeks after we were on a lockdown, staying at home, and she said, Mom, I feel more anger inside, and I don't know why.
Since she's been home, Sasha, since you've been home?
My children are homeschooled already for a few months. She's a gymnast. She does her gym at home on Zoom. We've been all, as everybody else, the rest of the American world, we've been all at home. And she comes and she says, Mom, I feel more anger. I don't know what to do with it. I don't understand it. She's a happy child. We call her a happy child. Would you like to share?
Well, when I heard about the pandemic, I thought it wasn't going to be a big deal. But then, like, after they started shutting down the countries and everything, I got, like, scared. And I felt angry and anxiety rushed over me.
Right.
And before the pandemic even started, I didn't meditate every day. But then during the pandemic, when I went to my mom, she told me to try to meditate every day. And I felt better, so now I meditate every day, and it made me feel good.
Excellent. Now, your other sister and your dad also meditates. What's that like? Do you all sit together at the same time?
You want to answer? No. My husband was the last one to join in, and actually, together with girls, we watched him muse. I think somebody
Craig was talking about that. Yes.
We use the Muse application because my husband is a science guy, And in January, when for his birthday, he got this gift. We all fight for it because we all absolutely love it. And it shows all those lines, and we have a competition basically every day going on. Who got more birds? Who got more lines? Who got deeper? Sometimes Sasha wins. Sometimes my husband wins. Sometimes I win. And recently my other Giselle has been winning. So it has been an ongoing active meditation, which makes me extremely happy. And I honestly didn't know that we have a subject of fear today. I was a little bit unprepared for that. And I can tell you that I personally have been battling fear most of my life. I'm an emotional person, and people used to tell me that I look and feel very together in public.
Sure.
But inside of me, there are storms.
Yeah.
And nobody knows about it. But then you come home and you have to deal with all that.
Right.
And I feel that fear is absolutely paralyzing.
Yes.
When you have fear and you feel those anxieties, and for whatever reason, and everybody has their own things going on in life, but I think when we feel fear, whether it's you or it's me, we can't move forward.
No.
It's that adrenaline and it's that rush, and it destroys our health.
Right.
It destroys our mental health and physical
It
health.
breaks down your immune systems.
Immune system. And when this pandemic happened, I got my family together.
Beautiful.
I said, why don't we try group meditation? Because in group meditation, we can support each other. We're stronger together. We can lift each other. If my husband was shy a little bit because he joined us later, then all of a sudden, when we sat down in a group and meditated, we all felt that energy.
Yes.
And we were all lifting each other. And at the end of the meditation, we're all smiling.
Excellent.
And the next day, I watch my family. My husband is calm. His thoughts are in order. He can start his day. Meditation stays with you.
Yes.
I know that in one of the programs, you, Sister Jenna, mentioned that if I skip a meditation, it's harder to get back on track.
Yes.
And that's what I've learned in this 2.5 months to be consistent.
Yes.
And
yes.
miracles started happening.
Yes. Very good.
Miracles for girls, for me, for my husband, very happy. And I can tell you that as a family, we started 2 months ago with fear. What is going to happen? How are we going to live? What's going to happen to us? And as many families, I can tell you that we lost our business. We are struggling financially. Girls haven't seen their friends in almost 3 months. We haven't seen our family. Our grandparents allow us to see them through a window. So we're experiencing every single thing that
everyone's going through. Right.
But I can tell you that we will come out happy.
I know you will, because the fact that you guys are doing this together, there's no doubt that something beneficial will come out of this. And I want to thank you for sharing. And Sasha, you're so sweet. Thank you for participating with this. And may you continue to meditate and keep uplifting your entire family as well, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. It was so sweet, sweet. So, all right. So we're talking about a really profound topic, something that many of us are grappling with, not walking into the future with fear. And I had mentioned to you about the physical symptoms of fear, but the most important aspect of really nipping fear in the bud is to be able to subtly identify it from first a thought level, and to be able to recognize what is this thought trying to say to me, and how do I reframe it. And we know by now it's an adrenaline rush. It's an upper. Some of us can be driven by the energy of fear and to move forward and to think quick. But over a long period of time, it breaks us down and it can break us apart. So my thoughts and my feelings about us moving into the future, there's so many ways of meditating. If you heard on today's show, you can use your thoughts, you can use a machine, you can use each other, you can do movements, you can hold silence, but just do it. For thousands of years, prophets, sages, seers, saints have turned to meditation for cures. They've turned to meditation to solve some of the most grappling problems. They've turned to meditation to connect to God, to themselves, to their humanity. They've turned to meditation to communicate to others across the land because they didn't have cell phones. They didn't have telephones. And the smoke signals couldn't even reach that far. But they would meditate and send their thoughtful vibrations to express their needs. I think the future that's calling all of us right now is to begin to, what Lana was sharing that she took from one of the sessions, you've got to be consistent with your thought processes. When you wake up in the morning, dedicate time to your reflective ideas about who you think you are. But the second thing is meditation isn't just about sitting down, taking 10, 20, or 30 minutes, but it's what are you doing as you're walking and moving around. When you go to the kitchen for coffee, what are you thinking? Are you thinking about we have lost our business? Our finances have taken a toll. Yes, that is true. So, what door is opening up for us? Because this door wouldn't close on us if there wasn't a new door opening up for us. So then it's as if your thought process no longer being crippled by fear, and I hope you're hearing this one, Lana, you are opening up to say with the family, okay family, let us now visualize and think, what is that door that is going to open up for us to walk into, which is better than where we were before, and it can't hurt. And Sandy, yes, it's an uncertain time, and there is no doubt that we're going to pick up not only the vibrations of thoughts from others, from the media, but also our own. And whenever you have a moment of fear, it's my invitation to you to check, what are you watching, what are you listening to, and what have you held on to? Remember that. What are you watching? What are you listening to? And what have you held on to over the years? And are those connected to where you felt powerless and afraid and uncertain and just not you? Because it's feeding the fear. I'll take a few questions even though we're coming to a close, and I hope everyone's enjoying tonight's session. You know I love the thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you'd like to do as your exercise routine. So I think I'll go on to the YouTube and see. Nicole, I hope you enjoyed your wonderful birthday. Blessings from everyone on YouTube yesterday. You celebrated it with Lou Gossett Jr. when we called in and spoke to Lou yesterday too. So everybody sent their birthday greetings to Lou for his 84th birthday. And so we've been really having a wonderful time on air. So any questions? Does anyone have any thoughts that they'd like to share? Any questions? Portia Davidson, lovely having you, my sweet sister. You are a blessing. Regina Smith, welcome. Mercedes, always good to have you. Betty, Elaine, obrigado. Thank you so much for tuning in. My Portuguese comes in and out. It depends on the mood that I'm in, but obrigado, obrigado, obrigado. Thank you, Nita, Janvi. Thank you, Kushali Diamond. So glad that you could make it. And Dr. Kailesh, glad to have you. Any other questions that might be out there that you'd like to send to me, send it now before we close off for meditation and end our program on fear. Yes, so someone was sharing that they have a daughter, and there's a concern about her well-being. And I'd like to address that. I won't call the name, but it depends on how you're feeling. That you have a daughter and you get concerned about her well-being. Firstly, I'd like you to do this. I'd like you to ask, why are you afraid? Just ask why. Just ask why. Why do you feel something will happen? Is this a feeling that you've had before your daughter was born? Was there an element of fear traveling with you before your daughter was born? Because I would say yes. And because you're so attached to your daughter, the element of fear that's rolling over in you before she was born has now transcended over to her. So here's my advice. In order to safeguard her protection, because I know you love her profusely, here's what I'd like you to do. Instead of fearing the worst for her, I want you to start to write the dreams and the visions that you have for her. I want you to put one on the fridge. I want you to put one in the bathroom. I want you to put one or two in the bedroom. And I want you to see that wherever you go so that you'll get triggered physically and externally to keep shifting that pattern. Because I think what that is, Vashti, it's just a really, really old pattern that's coming from an old past. And it's coming up again. And what you need to do is to create triggers to keep shifting you out of it because it's so deep in you. So write these papers, put them up on the boards everywhere you can. And when you look at it, you'll go, yes, she's going to be fine. My blessings are with you. So you keep saying to her, you bless her, you bless her. Nasreen Gilani, thank you for joining us. It's too hard to live happy. It's not too hard to live happy, but it is a challenge to live happy all the time. How about that? Just to shift that narrative just a little bit. It's not hard to live happy or to have a happy moment. Okay? All right, Nasreen. It's not hard to have a happy moment, but you find it challenging to be happy all the time. Welcome to life. Welcome to the journey of meditation. Welcome to taking your vaccine every day. We're all in the boat with you, Nasreen. We all want to be happy all the time. It's going to happen, not yet. So all the events, challenges, trials, tribulations, relationship issues, financial issues, physical issues, they are there to give us a chance to experiment. Experiment. To become our own personal scientist, or to go into the laboratory of the self to see what's in you. Sometimes when I don't feel so great, Nasreen, I'll just go in and ask, what's the matter? What do you need? And I'll talk to myself like that. It's like my friend in me shows up at the time of need. So I'm asking you to do that, and don't think too much about the final destination or the long run of happiness. Just begin to value the moments of happiness that you can attain and enjoy them. Okay, it's a part of the process. Okay, Nasreen, I hope that helped. Hi, Sue. Nice. Welcome. Welcome, Laura. Welcome, Divine, Rana, Grace. Vashti, I hope I answered your question. And Mateo, thank you for joining. Om Shanti. Thanks to everyone for coming on today. It's been a great time together. It's a very deep topic, and we can talk about it a lot. Louise, you said the powers to accommodate and tolerate will be particularly significant. Beautiful, Louise. No reason not to make effort to be of greater service after this time period. Perfect, Louise. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Beautiful sharing. Perfect. Okay, so there's some questions in the Zoom. Could somebody read those to me? Okay. So some raised hands in the Zooms. I'd like to talk with you. I'm waiting.
Oh, me? Okay, sorry.
Who's this?
Hi, this is Giselle. I don't know. I got unmuted. I'm Lana's daughter.
Hi, Giselle. So nice to meet with you.
To meet you too.
Okay, great. Have you been listening to our conversation?
Yes.
Have you been enjoying it, I hope?
Yeah.
Okay,
Very
good. I
much.
can't see you on screen, but hopefully I remembered seeing you earlier. Oh, there you go.
I
Hey, hey. So tell us, so what's up? What was your thought?
I enjoyed it a lot. Like I agree with the whole fear thing. Like fear needs to be conquered. This pandemic has brought so much fear to everybody. About like from big things to small things. Um, like a lot of people are scared to go outside to visit their families, to
Right,
see other people, to go to work, and some people are forced to because like when it comes to like work and stuff, they can't exactly just sit at home and do nothing. They need to support their families, and not
right,
everyone has a choice to work from a computer. Also, many people like many like teenagers close to my age, they've lost a lot because of this pandemic. Like my stepsister, she was a senior this year, and she didn't have her graduation. She didn't have her prom. She didn't get to finish her senior year properly.
yeah,
And people, and it's possible that next year is going to be similar or the same, or maybe even just as limited. So I'm going to
right.
be a junior next year, and I'm just really worried that like I might go through the same thing or similar things and like get my
Right. So now, based on what we spoke about today, Giselle, and if I'm going to start to create the thought that I'm going to be worrying a year from now, that will this happen to me again, do you think that thought will manifest that reality, or do I have the power to choose to think something else? And despite if it happens or not, at least if I dreamed the best thought, who knows? Which one do you
yeah,
think you choose?
the second option.
Right, I think so too. Yeah, that's beautiful.
If it happens, it happens. If not, then better for me.
Well, I have to say this, at your age and where you are at the particular time, I feel that what what you and your generation are holding is something so beyond powerful. And so I have like all of this hope for your g- generation to move things and to change things dramatically than what the other generations behind you have done. And I feel that that's what you and your friends can start to do now, is to think about how do we step out of the way that they did it, because look how we ended up. What do we need to do? Who do we need to be? And I think that will be a very profound way of having, that kind of a conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah.
Stay safe.
You too.
All right, take care.
You too. Bye.
Beautiful. I just love to hear these young voices speak and share such beautiful ideas and thoughts. It's beautiful. Was there somebody else that had their hands up?
Say that firstly, and everyone that supports the mission.
Thank you.
My question is, as a practitioner, just as a human living in this realm, what advice would you give for helping assist individuals that all they know is fear, and all they've lived in is that fear, especially with people that have experienced trauma,
Yes,
and when you
yes.
have that whole metaphysical turnout of holding that pain and the attachments that come with it. So like you talked about the manifestation, what advice would you give in helping to assist them to let go of those attachments?
Great
And I know,
question.
and assisting them with the meditation, because if they have someone that lived in trauma and all they know, their identity is, hi, my name is Joe, and
I've
they
been
say
through
I was
this.
molested.
Yeah.
But when they learn to live past that, it's like someone that didn't have legs and they got new legs, and now they have to learn how to run and walk with these new legs. How can we help ourselves and our brothers and sisters to run with us or to walk beside them until they're able to?
Beautiful question. There are a variety of ways. And what I'd like to introduce for this moment with us is to look at the fact that one notion that I would really like us to shift tonight: I can't change anybody. I can't change anybody. And that needs to sit in us very deeply. The second aspect is, I'm in charge of transforming myself, and I'm in charge of being able to raise my own vibrations, but also to observe the deep work needed to transform myself. And then you start to mature enough to think what it will take for that brother or that sister or that friend to go through their own transformation. So once you kind of hold that awareness and understanding, there'll be less discomfort and less pressure in thinking, how can I help? Because sometimes you can get so bruised by feeling like you couldn't do anything to save them. So the third way is something you said. You travel with them, knowing that they have their particular part to play in the drama of life, and you have yours. But here's where I've seen change happen in people. It's when they begin to see pure love through you. One, they become very hopeful. When you distract them from their pattern of stories, which means get them involved in service. The more they get involved in service, the more the soul starts to re-record a new memory of how much worth their life is valuable at. Like how much value there is in their lives, how worthy they are in their lives, because they're helping others. And they're stepping out of their I, woe, always me game. So I've seen those particular ways of doing it because I have a mother who goes through an interesting process. She was orphaned at 7. She's been abused, abandoned, left on the curb. And yet, look, she raised a child with character, strength, depth. And even though she's gone through her own journey of her meditation and spiritual empowerment, there's still a little part of her that doesn't know what to do with that trauma and hurt. And maybe that will be a part of their story too. But I do know that if your friend or your family looks at you raised without you expecting to change them, something mystical will be transmitted and they will begin to find some hope and help. So I hope that helped a little bit.
Dale now, and then Christina.
Dale, you want to share again something for tonight?
I think I'm just appreciating.
Oh,
Pleasure.
okay.
So thanks. Yeah.
All right. Bye. So, Christina, I think someone called Christina or Christine. You have something to share? Everyone's enjoying? Thumbs up, hands up, wavy hands in the air. All right, great. Hi, Christine. So glad that you could join us. I'm glad to meet you.
Oh, I'm so glad to meet you. Just let you know, you're my new best friend.
Oh, cool. I love best friends. I love BFS. So
it's
tell
so
us.
Exciting. I mean,
Oh,
it's
good.
been such a fun to
Good.
be here. So the question that I have is, throughout my own transformation and speaking to other people and just sharing with them my techniques and things that I've started to implement, and with meditation and just different modalities to heal and transform things within inside of myself, I started to recognize that a lot of people that I've been speaking with they don't speak this language.
Yes.
And so my question is, how can we help people after we go out, right? The world is reopened, and those people that are still living in that fear, how can we help them reframe those thoughts that you mentioned earlier, but in a more general sense? Because I found it helpful for people to be more general statements, to have more general statements and thoughts if they can't go on that like high flying disc.
I hear you.
So what general statements do you think that we could help them or they could say to themselves.
Great question. One of the main ways I always respond to questions like that is I always invite you stay grounded in who you need to be first. And allow that soul within you, that personality with you, which you might have already visualized, or maybe there is a vision or your aim that's been pulling you anyway, independent of anyone else. And focus on that. And as you're traveling on the journey of life, you will bump into a variety of people. They will meet you on their place. They will meet you at where you are at. Did you hear my session about the penthouse? Some of us living at the penthouse level, some of us are on the ground level, and some of us at the basement. So if you're trying to tell your friend, you were once in the basement too, but you worked hard and you made yourself get up to the penthouse, and you're telling them there's an apartment available on the penthouse, you can get it. And they're like, are you out of your mind? That's $10,000 a month. I'm not even making $100 a month. And then you would ask them, well, do you want to?
Yes.
Do you even want to? So sometimes our friends and our family members have stopped dreaming because they're caught up in the grossness of what the world is telling them, but also of the past. And I've been there, and I'm sure you have, where sometimes you just, and quietly, you give up on yourself. And you don't know of the repercussions of that one thought of going, maybe I'll just stay here on the ground floor. Why do I have to go to the penthouse? You know, it just takes too much energy to sustain it anyway. But every so often your vision says, I hear you, but I have the key waiting for you. So it's important that you ground yourself in who you are, one. Secondly, from that place of being established in you, everyone that you meet, you're not there to change them. You're just there to go with them, like they're going to go with you. And if they're taking you somewhere or talking to you about something that's of no interest, you must check that you're not judging. You're like, I don't see it like that anymore. I don't know, since this pandemic, I've gone through some huge changes. This pandemic is a great excuse for you to tell all your friends you've gone through a spiritual awakening, and you're not going to have the same conversations like you used to have before. Because before, when you would tell them you're doing this, you're doing that, they will take it a little bit like this. But I think it's important for you to stay authentic. And even when you're with your friends and they're talking a language that you feel like, I don't have that interest anymore, then just voice it, but not with the ego that I'm better, but just like, guys, I wish I could go here with you, but since this pandemic, I'm just looking at things differently. Aren't you? And you direct the question to them and see what happens. But because your energy is changed, naturally, you will attract different friends and different energetic things towards you. So I hope that answered some of your question. Okay? All right, so let's get to a close. We're moving on way too late. Vashti, sure, send us an email if you'd like to go deeper into the conversation. But I do believe that what I shared is really, really important for you to acknowledge. It's important to put those messages up around the house about your daughter and not to feed that energy for her, because you love her so much. You don't want anything to happen to her. So create those thoughts. Really, really important. All right, great. We are going to come to a close. Okay? Did everybody enjoy? Was it okay tonight? Yes? It was nice to see some of you on Zoom tonight as well. Sometimes it's a little tricky just talking to a camera, but when I see people, I'm like, hey, virtual hugs. I love it. I'm such an affectionate person, so you can only imagine what it's been like with me. Now, even if I see you, I don't even want to hug you because I don't know what to do. Whenever we have friends that come by, I'm like, should I hug? No, should I? So one of the things that we do in our Brahma Kumaris community is we see with love through the eyes. We just, we go inwards, we connect to source, and we allow that energy to touch the soul. And then we greet each other through the eyes and say Om Shanti. So, on that note, for us to have a fearless future, I bid you all with a warm Om Shanti, sweet dreams, rest well, take care of each other, be kind, be loving. I can tell you not to worry, but you have to understand the power of that one line. Don't worry. Don't worry. Think. Think in the solution. Just don't worry, but think in the solution. All right? Enjoy this wonderful closing song, If I Had One Wish. Thanks to everyone for joining us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Be well.
I feel it now. It's all around me. A silent voice I can't deny. A mother's arms, how they surround me. They sing the beauty of my life. It will last forever. It will never fade away. Never cause me pain. This love, this love. I close my eyes. It takes me over. A memory deep down in my soul, and safe from harm to be beside you. A light will shine upon me pain. It will last forever.